What's poppin', y'all? It's DeAndre, and we back with the Squid Games Aftermath podcast.
Yep.
Player 288 is me, of course, as you know by now. And today I have a very special guest with me. One of the first players I met in the game, Mr. Jared Sharp, player 281. What's happening?
Nothing too much. I'm excited to talk to you. I know we had a chance to talk a few days ago, but I've been watching your series, been getting the scoop. It's been great and learning a lot. So I'm glad to be here and get a chance to share my story too.
Okay, he's getting the scoop, which everyone watching should be getting the scoop, man. We getting all the scoops, man. If you want to find out what's really going on, this is the place to be.
I agree. I agree with that one.
Exactly. There's a couple other spots, but this is the place to get the unfiltered tea. We ain't for nothing up in here. So that's what we do.
I've been watching and catching the vibes. I see you. It's good stuff.
Okay. Yeah, it's good. It's good. It's real juicy. So Jared, why did you decide to apply for Squid Games, the challenge?
Okay, so I used to be a teacher. I was like an emotional behavior teacher. It was great. Loved it. I got tired. I was like, I got to do something for my own life. So I was unemployed for a while. So I was in June. I think I applied in June of last year. And so I was like, what the hell? I'm not doing anything right now. I'm trying to figure life out. I wanted adventure. From the jump, the money's great. Who don't want 4.56 million? But I'm like, let me live a real life story. Let me do something exciting, like something I can share and remember for the rest of my life potentially. So I applied. And then really it was like a 6-month long process. I don't know about you, but it was like, interview after call. And then you were like, and I found out like 2 days before Christmas, and it was like, you're in. So it was like, hell yeah. So January, I was going, and it was literally just something that was definitely surreal. But my whole MO was like, let me just do something. That I'll be proud of. Like, when I'm 80 years old, my kids, grandkids, if I have any, will be like, what's up? What'd you do with your life? And I'm like, I have a good story. I have something to share, something to say. And we did. I didn't get the story I wanted, but I got a story.
Yeah, definitely it is, man. Now, in life, nothing ever goes as you officially plan it to be, but you got to adjust and pivot, and something will, as long as you take something from it, that's all you can do. Right. So you're preparing, you got long month process and whatnot, but it's the night before that you leave to get on the plane to head out. What's going through your head the night before?
So I went to a hotel. I have an identical twin brother. And so I went with him and my mom. We were staying at a hotel outside the airport. And I was trying to film and document along the way because I was just, but then when I got to the airport to get dropped off, you know a part of my story. I was a very emotional being in this process. So I was leaving the airport crying. I'm like, I'm leaving my twin. I've never flown by myself. And, I was feeling like, what the hell am I getting myself into? And so I was very, very excited, very nervous, curious. But the night before, it just happened. All of a sudden, it just started unfolding, and then I was just in the middle of it.
And yeah, it goes quick. So you get on the plane, you headed out, and you land, and then we got to spend a few days in this hotel.
Good old London.
Good old London. And so it's the night before that, they tell us the next day we're going to go to the first game finally. How you feeling that last night in the hotel?
Okay, you were in the room next to me, and so he had the advantage of listening through the wall and knowing the scoop of what emotional process that I was going through. And so when they took our cell phones, I was like, I'm cool, I got it, I got myself together. But when they took that cell phone, I was like, you were legit disconnected from the world. Like, you can't contact anyone, your family, your friends. It was over. So I was an unexpected emotional wreck. I was having a moment. It was like 2:30 a.m. where we were. And I remember calling my twin brother, and I was like, I don't know. And he was like, it's okay. I was crying. I called my mom. And then after that, I let it out. I was good to go. And so I was ready to took our bags. I woke up, and it was game time. 4:15. What time we woke up?
I don't know what time we woke up, Coach, but I have no idea. I was knocking the sleep out of my eyes, trying to brush my teeth, and just
right.
But definitely the last day without the technology was one of my hardest days in the whole entire process too, just because I've never not had it. So that just, when you don't have it and you're in a room and just walking around, I was like, wow.
I know that TV. I was just putting the TV on. I was just trying to play music, whatever. And you haven't talked to anybody hardly all day, and so like with nothing to do in your room, having to get real creative. So it was a time for me.
100%. So we ended up getting on the bus, headed to the first game. And when you get in the tent, you can see it's going to be red light, green light, because you can see out the peripheral on the top. It's going to, you see the setup a little bit. So when you first
saw it.
walk in
I
there,
didn't see it till we lined up, because when I lined up, there was like a camera that had a sticker on it that said red light, green light. I didn't know till then.
If you were outside the tent and you looked up top to the rafters, I could see like the clouds in the background, and just immediately like, okay, it's red light, green light. I just waited to see it. So
my head was not in the game. Apparently, I'm just like aloof out here. Like, what am I doing? But let me ask you this. Okay, were you in my tent? Because I was 271. You were? Are you two? Was it 278? Is that your? What's your number?
You're 281.
No. What I say? Yeah, 281. My bad. You corrected me on my own Squid Game number. My bad. But what were you? What number were you?
Yeah, I was in your tent. I was 288.
Yes, you were right there with me. And so we were in the tent with Leanne, Trey. I don't remember the guy from Ireland, the redhead. He was in the top 20, I think. I don't remember his name.
Mikey.
And then James. You remember James? The guy who's super. He's the guy who had told everybody about. We were like, when do we stop? He's like, I speak, Korean. And we're like, okay, dude, that's great. And he was running around our tent telling everybody, like, when she says pietsinida, like when you hear the P, that's when you need to stop. And so I want to shout out James and say, I remember you. And I was rooting for you because you was coming through for all of us, giving us that South Korean lesson that I used over and over and over again. So appreciate it.
Yeah, man. James is hopping on the podcast soon himself. So
we'll tell him I say thank you very much. He might not remember. No, he might remember me. Who knows? We'll see.
He might. James is a good dude, good memory. So I definitely think he might remember you very well. So definitely a stand-up guy. One of my favorite people from the show for sure. Mm-hmm. So we get in there and you see the red light, green light arena. What's going on in your head when you first walk in there?
I mean, it was wild. It was gigantic. That room, I mean, it was definitely bigger than a football field, I would say. So you're thinking like, it's a long way to go. I know that I guess they compress the background when they film, but you really couldn't get a sense of the magnitude of, just because when you got 456 people crammed into a room and we're still looking small, it was wild, and it looked exactly like it. So I was like, this shit is real. This is a real deal. And of course, we got that chance to warm up. So the nerves were, I remember when we lined up in our lines before, and there was just like this collective like roar. And that was, for me, the first time I was like, this is a lot of people. We're like making enough sound to kind of like shake your skin. And that was a part that I was like, this is huge. And so, of course, we came in, got the nerves out, ate lunch, came back, and then it was all of a sudden it was like, no more practice. It's game time.
Yeah, it was game time, coach. Put your helmet and shoulder pads on, and it's time to go. It's time to go.
Right.
Go ahead.
Did you get into that warm-up we did and we like stretched it out for like 20 minutes? And I was getting into it and I was like, what am I doing? Because then I was thirsty, so my mouth was just like a cotton ball from the jump. And then we have to go with no water, no bathroom breaks. So I was like, I messed up. I should have just done a couple and been like, I'm done. That's good.
Hey, yeah, it was crazy in there, man, getting prepared for that. And yeah, we do the practice run or whatnot. Mm-hmm. So when you do that and it's almost time to go, what's your strategy going in here?
You know what? Like, my strategy completely changed. Because I was probably about 4 or 5 people back. So the people in the front were just taking off. I think the second round, I ran up and actually ran into a girl. And so I was literally on top. We were like this, and I felt so bad. I'm so sorry. I was whispering in her ear the whole time. And I was like, hey, my foot's between your legs. You go first. I'll go this way. So we're like strategizing. And of course, at that moment, you're scared. Like, am I whisper? Is my squib going to go off? And so from that moment on, I was like, it's all about how I stop, And so then I had that in my mind. So the next round, I'm running, and some dude, which I'm not going to talk shit about him because you have the same strategy. I guess you got there later on. He just drops to the ground. But he doesn't drop straight. He drops in this like fetal position right in front of me. And this is me. My legs are split out. If you freeze it, look for player 281. My legs are like in a half split. And he is right here. And I'm holding that for 25 minutes. And I'm dying. And at one point, somebody was like, 281. I don't know how you're doing it. I was like, oh, thank you. Like, you see me. I was dying. And so from then on, literally every other time, I was like, can I stop straight up? And sometimes you can't. You can't really control who's running into you. And so it literally became a game of stopping in the most convenient position, which there isn't one, when you're standing on hard concrete and you're freezing cold. So that was kind of my thing. And then I was thinking in my mind mentally, I was like thinking about my grandma, thinking about my brother, like, because you're bored too. You're just sitting there for so long. And I'm going to contain myself and not think about how my legs are like shaking. And so it was a psychological game. I'll tell you that.
Yeah, no, 100%. You speaking that, man. I mean, I did see the picture.
Yeah,
I don't know
thank
where I
you.
saw it, but I
Okay.
did see it, and I was like, oh, that's what he was talking about.
Thank you. I just wanted the world. That's it. I just want the world to see my
Oh,
split, my half split.
that was hilarious. I was like, there's no way in hell, like,
That's
because the
why as
person
soon as
has to
I
wait.
saw Player
Yeah.
33 drop, when she was doing her squat, I was like, girl, I feel you. I know what it's like. Her position was way worse than mine. I'll give it that. But I knew. I was like, I feel you. I feel your pain.
Yeah. Well, yeah, you find your strategy and you're moving on, inching
Mm-hmm.
closer and closer and closer, and the finish line is in sight. So tell me what's going on in your head when you see that, like, okay, you have the chance to pass it.
Okay, probably like everybody else. My mom was like, I'm about to pass out. Like I am done physically. My body is like, if I stand here another round, am I gonna be standing or am I gonna do one of these like and just kind of fall out and wake up and be done with the game? So I was like, I'm gonna give up my all. I was about 20 yards away. I was like, this doll's gonna start singing, and I'm gonna give it everything I got. Because if I'm out, I'm out. If I make it, I make it. So I had my hands in my pocket. It's cold. Had a lot of people freezing in place like this, and their hands were shaking. So I was like, that's not me. Hands in pocket. Doll starts singing. Turns around and I'm going. I'm sprinting. I'm running, and then I cross the finish line, and I'm like, she's still singing. So I know I made it. I know. And there's this moment of euphoria. I'm literally like, ugh, like I like sighed from my soul. And then I had no time to take a deep breath in after that because where the doll was, the ground was a little bit different. If you look in, you can see it's kind of arched. So I didn't see it and I stepped on it. Immediately my foot rolls, hands in pocket. I'm going straight for the wall and I'm sprinting. So in a second, I smash into the back wall and I duck my head so I don't smash my face. And immediately my shoulder just is like crunched. And so I knew I was done. Like, and so the girl beside me was like, "Do you need a medic?" And I would just drop to the ground. And then I was like, I'm out. Because to come to find out later on, long story short, I might get into the details later on if you allow me, but I cracked my scapula, which is my shoulder blade. I never got my ribs x-rayed, but when I was fast forward later, I ended up throwing up in a gutter in the streets of London on the way back to my hotel because I had to pull over. I was like, tell the Uber, like, dude, I'm going to throw up. And so then that's when my ribs started hurting. So I was like, I knew I was hurt there. So then I don't know if you felt this when you got out, but just that heavy disappointment that the culmination of everything all in a moment, and you couldn't control it. You know what I'm saying? That was not even really in your hands. And so for me too, like, why did this have to happen? So the psychological aspect of it to me was the hardest. The physical pain was terrible, but that extra component of just crushed, being crushed was all at once for me.
Yeah, man, definitely. It's a crazy story. Definitely don't know anyone who's had that kind of experience. So yeah, for the people back at home, after hit your shoulder and they say medic, can give the people a little context about what happens after that? Because it seems like you passed the game and you
I
make it.
did.
So
Right. And I guess that was the worst part. You know what I'm saying? Like if I didn't, well, I guess it would have been worse if I didn't complete it. But they called for medic, they checked me out, they're figuring, and so I appreciated that. But I got some water because again, thirsty as hell. But I went to this like checkout tent and they were like, hey, 281, yeah, you passed, you're good. But I'm like, well, I'm not good, but thank you. And so they sent somebody with Studio Lambert. I want to shout out, I don't know what your experience was, but I really, really love Studio Lambert. The people from there were incredible. They were supportive. To me, they were just like gold people. They just really came through for me when I had a rough time. So I got in a car with one of the guys from Studio Lambert. We went to the ER, and that was maybe like 8:30, and we were PM. And so I guess for people in the UK, that would be what, at 20, whatever, however they say it. And so I was there for 9.5 hours. 9.5 hours. And so I just sat there most of the time. I was in my tracksuit still. So people probably like, nobody said anything. I was in this very obvious Squid Game attire and I couldn't cover it up. So they were just like, I think I had a jacket maybe. And so then they took me back, did an x-ray, but then I just sat there. And at various points, I had a port in my arm for an IV. I was super thirsty, dehydrated. I remember like dry heaving and throwing up in the bathroom because I was sick. And then I like pulled a muscle. And so I had like the IV sticking out, I like pushing my muscle, and then it was bad. And so, and I remember just breaking down, crying because it was just too much. All that, just the high of being in it, and then like that feeling of like you pull it out of the party, and now you're in the hospital. And so then 27 hours later, I get back to the hotel, and they're like, "Hey, it's your choice. Do you want to keep going?" And I'm like, "I can't keep going. Like, I can't." If you see all the stuff that even like Delgado, I was like, this is my riding arm. I couldn't have done it. So they took me out, and then I just waited a couple days and had to go home with the L.
Jeez, man, that's tough. That's insane. I mean, I couldn't imagine, getting injured on the first game and having to
Right.
deal with all that madness as well as, all the other stresses you had already going on.
Uh,
I'm sorry about that. So you find all that transpires and goes down
mhm.
and you head home. So what's the mood? How are you feeling when you get back home?
That's I think everybody was kind of facing that because you go through one of the most bizarre things you've ever done in your life in this alternate universe, and you just plot down and like, okay, everything's regular, like time to eat lunch, go visit your family, and then we have no one to talk with it about, So of course I know I talk to my twin brother about everything. I just tell him everything. So, but he wasn't there, like he doesn't know what it was like. And so it just was like, and of course I was healing. I had a 5-week healing process. So for me, I was like telling people, what happened? And I can't be like, I was on Squid Game and I tripped and ran into a wall. So I just stuck with the story though. I did say I ran into a wall, but I was looking like a fool out there. Like, dude, ran into a wall? What happened? I'm like, just tripped, man. Just tripped and fell into a wall. And so, but I healed up, I was after that. And then it was just a waiting game, like peeping out, the emails we got and then wondering, for me, it also was like, are they going to show me running into a wall and I'm going to become like this meme of the kid who like tripped and fell, like, you idiot, you could have won 4.56 million and you tripped and fell on a wall. And I just kept like replaying different scenarios of like the slow motion, like the I guess GIF or whatever, me going and just smacking it. I was like, what's going to happen? But when I didn't get an interview, I was like, you know what? They're not going to show this. They're going to hide it. They got a lot of bad rep for people getting hurt. And so I know they probably were just like, let's just kind of sweep this under the rug. And I get it. I understand. I don't blame anybody for that. But it was my story. So at least I want to get to take that and be able to share it because that's the only thing I went home with.
Yeah. No, and your story is the most important thing. I mean, you got to take that and live with that and, cope with it the ways you can. Mm-hmm. And everyone has their own coping processes, but I definitely think, you seem to have done it in a healthy way. And luckily you had family and friends around to kind of help you get through that. So, yeah, unfortunately, that was your time on the show. 281 had to make a swift exit off the stage.
Yeah.
So looking back at the show and seeing how everything ended, how are you feeling now that everything is kind of like, what has transpired and what is you seen?
Are you caught up? I watched through episode 9 now. So I'm just waiting.
Yeah, I've seen everything.
Okay, good. So for me, I think it was really cathartic for me to see the people that I had brief encounters. It wasn't like we barely got to talk to people. You may have had more chance because you got to go back to the dorms. But like Trey, Leanne, like you said, Michael, and then James were all in my tent with you. And so I didn't talk to you as much. I had a couple moments when we were inside the actual games. But to me, I just like seeing the faces of the people who were really kind. And I was getting to cheer them on. And then for me, it ended one way. But for like when I saw you in the previews, I was like, oh, there he is. He made it through. So I felt like that was kind of healing for me to be able to like, I guess it's what Freud and Florida, when you get to like cheer, to like celebrate other people's wins. And that's what I feel like made it. That's what I took away as well. And I'm grateful for the 3 that made it at the top. God, I got some beef with some people though. I'm just going to say, I wasn't even there, but can you not? I don't know if you want to talk. You probably even spill the tea for like episodes.
I mean, you can say what you're feeling. Say what you're feeling.
Listen, the old man with marbles was trying to come for the girl who's speaking sign language. And I was like, that was ick. That was the biggest ick I felt so far in this whole show. And when he was like, you're going home. And then she's like, let's see what the universe has to say about that. I was like, please just let her win. And she won. I was like, see you, old man. Good luck. Look like you have a long way home. He was talking some shit. And then, but that whole game. And then the other guy, when they were throwing the marbles and they both tied, she won. She clearly won. She let him go first. He picked the game, and then I was like, let me not cuss on here too much. But I'm just saying, I was feeling bitter. And I want to clear the air too with Ashley. You know Ashley, right? I don't know her like that, but I liked her. I liked her story with the other girl. They were really sweet. And then when she got on that bridge and was jumping platforms, and she was like, I'm not going. And then Maya was like, yeah, I'm coming for her because she wasn't a team player. And everybody was acting like nothing happened. I was like, did y'all not remember her throwing Trey under the bus? Like, that was my tent mate. Like, I was sticking up for him. But I did do some messaging and found out there was a different story. Something happened. We didn't get the whole picture, which makes sense. So I was like, I'm going to let that one go. Ashley, I'm gonna take a deep breath and be like, I don't know the story. But I've been getting riled up. So I don't know if you've been screaming at the TV or not. So how you been feeling?
I mean, I'm fine. I talk to a lot of people,
okay.
I'm getting, Ashley is she's gonna be on the podcast soon.
I like
So
her.
we'll get.
Let me talk shit because I do like her, but the way it was kind of like, it was like I was a little ruffled. My feathers were puffed out a little bit.
Yeah, no, definitely. I mean, look, I understand, but the thing is, there is a lot that was not shown, and
right.
I think it was the podcast. I think I just posted it. It's with who was it with? Oh, it was with Taz, player 221, and he made it to top 20. And so we spoke about it. So I would check it. It just dropped today. We talked about,
but I haven't watched that one yet.
Yeah, it just came out today, like a few hours ago. But yeah, we spoke about the glass bridge incident with Ashley, and basically it was, to sum it up real quick, Trey, it wasn't much time in between. Like, he jumped and then there wasn't anything said. It was just like silence. And then, he didn't really speak up for himself. He kind of just kept jumping, and ultimately that led to his downfall. But yeah, she took her jump, and then everyone else did the same routine after that. I spoke to Chaz about, that's what he said, but he had eliminated before that happened. He was second in line, so he was gone by then. So I am talking with 2 members later today that made it through that round. So they'll be able to give me 100% their perspective on exactly what went down.
I'm here for it.
And so, yeah, that'll be definitely, that's a big topic of interest, because they're like, well, why didn't everybody just make her keep jumping and whatnot? So we'll find out, coach. Okay. And then with the other 2, with the old man, that was messed up. Nobody sided with him. Like, come on now, bro. Like, what are you thinking? No. I mean, that was stupid for him to even act like that. An interview that just dropped today, Genu, player number 30, he explains about that whole thing too as well.
Okay.
And then about Dylan and Aurora, which are the 2 players that were fighting at the marbles, and they ran out of time. There's a lot of editing with theirs.
Okay.
So like originally, like Aurora, the girl, she didn't make hers first. I don't believe. I don't know why, but she didn't make hers first. Dylan did make his first. Yeah, that was said. Look, I gotta talk.
I'm hearing you. Okay.
This is just all the stuff that I've seen them post and what came out, and there's a lot of extra and stuff that was not shown, apparently. And I don't really have an issue with anything how they went down. Like, I understand, like, you want to play a throwing game, that's what you want to do. You don't want to leave it up to chance. I wouldn't want to leave it up to chance. I'm not about to flip a coin and we have a marbles and we could do something. So I completely understand that aspect of things. But there's also compromise when it comes to that. And you both got to find a middle ground. You got to work hard. I don't think sitting there and not speaking is going to help. I think you just keep talking and keep trying to figure it out, because you have the clock. So that part, I kind of was like, you guys just got to keep talking and keep going through it, because we don't have the luxury of time on our side.
Right, and that same situation with you. You had 2 on the clock, and so you can speak on that better than anybody can.
Yeah, I mean, I couldn't just put my hand on the wall and say I'm nothing. Like, I could have done that, but the same outcome might have happened. So I think talking is the best way to get through things. So yeah, there's a lot of things behind that. I mean, I won't speak on their situations too much. I mean, I know both of them personally, so.
Right.
I'm gonna stay out of that one. Like, I got my own points of view, but I'm gonna stay out of the intrinsic things until they want to maybe come on here and speak on that for themselves. So hopefully they get the chance to do that. If not, I understand it's not really something you want to relive, but one person saying one thing and somebody else saying the next, it's a little messy. But yeah, man. Well, yeah, man, you had a short run on the show, but you definitely left the impact with me. Of course, I easily remember you.
You too.
And you have a good message, and kind of like, I think, it's the game is a game of luck, and you just honestly got unlucky with how things rolled when you got out of there, to be honest. It was unfortunate, because it would have been great to have you in there. You would have loved it, I'm sure, and then it would have helped you, being around people, not thinking about your brother and then your family back home. That definitely helps a lot. I think it was just the hotel being isolated, which really kind of got to people say that was good to my head too. I was getting emotional in there, and I'm like, what's going on? So yeah, do you have any parting words for the people back home?
I would say that to everybody who competed, I care about your story. I value your story, and your experience is yours, and no one can take that away from you. And I'm really proud, because it takes a lot of guts, a lot of courage. I don't know, to really go through something like that. And so I know that a lot of people probably disappointed going home early, but to me, that's one of 456 people in the world who will ever get that experience, unless they do season 2. We'll see about that, whatever. But also to people who are in it, congratulations. I really am very happy. I'm happy to see that people, because we all had that communal experience of red light, green light. And so it's kind of like that trauma bond in a way that we got to be forged together. And so it's helping me celebrate. Congratulations to the top 3. Who do you think is going to win? You may not be sure, I don't know.
I want Mai to win. I want Mai to win. She was 287. I'm 288, man. Come on now. She got to bring it to me.
Our team too, right?
Mm-hmm.
Man, I missed her. I mean, I couldn't, you only remember so much. So I will go.
She was quiet. She was very quiet, So.
Right. Phil's super sweet, though. I got to say, he's a sweetheart. And
yeah, no, they're all great. They're all great.
I'll be happy either way. So I'm good either way. But I appreciate you having me on. This has been fun. I enjoyed talking. You were the first person I got to talk to fully after, post games. Remember seeing you in the airport, so you kind of went with me along the way. And so it's been real. It's been fun, and I'm excited to see what happens next. Is it Wednesday?
Yeah, Wednesday. Yeah, Wednesday.
Okay, good deal.
So it's actually going to be on at 6 p.m. Eastern time, not like 6 in the morning. So
look at that. Okay.
Definitely. Yeah, they it's gonna be it's gonna be lit. So but yeah, y'all. Well, Jared, I really do appreciate you, man. Next time I'm down south, I'm gonna holler at you. If you come to New York, holler at me. Love to link up. And yeah, y'all, appreciate y'all coming through. Till next time, y'all. We out here. Peace and blessings. And